Well, here we are, episode 33, Mr. Knight.
Indeed, Mr. Huxtable.
The mop is still growing.
It is. I haven't succumbed to the clippers as yet, and as you can see, the beard's returning as well. So yeah, we're aiming for some sort of Sasquatch representation or Yeti, depending where you are in the world. We'll see what happens. How the devil are you?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm well. We're recording this on Tuesday, the 19th of January. Yesterday was Blue Monday.
It's Blue Monday.
Blue Monday.
That's a song as well, isn't it? A band, Blue Monday? No, Blue Monday. Yeah. Anyway.
I think, yeah, it could have been. So that forms the discussion point for us today, doesn't it? Because we want to talk about just being a bit nicer to people. I've a bit, as you know, Mr. Knight, I've had a bit of my bee in my bonnet about this. I was actually talking to Nikki Campbell about this on the Radio 5 Live last week.
You're on there again?
I was on there again. Yeah, I was on there again.
Is he not bored with you yet?
Clearly not. No. But you know, look. I fully respect people's views and their right to express them, and I would defend that to the death. But I have noticed, and I'm sure many of our learned listeners have probably noticed, that whatever social media channel you might find yourself on of late, there is a creeping, I'll use the word because I can't think of any other, nastiness that seems to be appearing, where people don't seem to respect other people's views, and they're quite argumentative, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or even on LinkedIn. I've seen it.
Good God, no! It's a professional platform. You mustn't have anything like that on there.
Well, so it got me thinking, and I thought, you know what? This time in our lives, we will always clearly remember. Getting in history is one of the most challenging parts of our history as a nation, for sure, for all of the reasons we know. But you know what? I wonder what people will really remember out of this in sort of 6, 12, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years time. And you know what I wouldn't want people to remember is how judgmental and nasty everybody was, and judgy. You know, this, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? That's not the rules. And look, I totally understand as well that people are not adhering by the rules, and that's not right, and they should be duly dealt with by the force of the law. So, but you know, maybe we should all start being a little bit nicer, which is why I've got my join me. Oh,
the wrong way, fella. Wrong way.
Join me.
Direction.
There we are. Bravoffy. So this is something we started in the first lockdown, which was reaching out to our clients, checking in with how they were, reaching out to our researchers that do an amazing job for us, don't they, Rich? Getting all that data in for us, and just sort of saying, look, how are things? Because you know, every TV channel you turn on at the minute, they're talking about the mental health crisis, and they're talking about how difficult this is going to be. And you know, this if you look at this purely from a customer experience business level, if your people aren't in the right place, and you're not creating the space and the time and the energy for them to be in the right place, and checking in with them to be in the right place, you don't stand a cat in hell's chance with your customers, because your people won't look after them. Do you kind of get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, you know, people might hear us talking about this, being kind. What's wrong with them? Weirdos. Mind you, we're all lovely down in the southwest, so if everyone's come down for a cider, you know, we're more than happy to have them down here and a few drinky poos. Yeah. But yeah, and people might think, well, what's that got to do with anything? Because you guys are the CX people, you know, what's that got to do with customer experience? But it's got everything to do with it. And I know, and I remember all those months ago, back in lockdown 1, where we were talking about this being nice piece, and actually looking inward in terms of organizations for an employee point of view. Because if you can be kind and open and understanding and listen to your employees and the people within your teams, and yourself, actually, you've got to be kind to yourself. The chances are they'll be able to continue to provide a great experience for customers. Now, it's not about when you pick the telephone up and sounding happy. You know, it's something to do with that, but as we know, customer experience is everything, is end to end. So somebody's developing a new website for you within your team, or they are developing a new marketing strategy, or putting in a new piece of software. If they're not motivated and actually feeling appreciated, the effort that they put in is perhaps not as great as it could have been pre-lockdown number 3, and it could be that they don't put in as much effort in, and it isn't quite as successful, and therefore all these little quites and maybes all add up, and then what the experiences of the customers then receive is probably dropped off quite considerably. So we're talking about this, you know, a lot, and I know you mentioned to me recently about some information that you've gathered around, or I say you personally, Insight 6 has gathered around bosses and their thoughts about their teams. It'd be great, I think, if you let
I'm going to come on to that in a second.
Oh, don't do that to me. I set you up with this lovely one and you throw it back in my face. I'm being
brilliant. I'm going to come to that. I'm going to come to that.
Go on.
This very simple gesture, this cup in my hand, this cup of, it happens to be tea, but it can be whatever your poison happens to be.
Yes.
Sitting down and talking to your team or to your clients or to your neighbor or whoever it is that you are wanting to engage with, please, listeners, viewers, please don't underestimate the power that will have on those individuals at this moment in time. You know, we are genuinely in such a difficult place, and of course there are some brilliant lights at the end of the tunnel. And we talked about it last week when we were talking about kind of the little big things, and we were talking about the handwritten notes and what difference that makes. And really interestingly, on Friday of last week, my son appeared with this little sign. You can't really see it, to be honest, because it's Zoom and it's not great, but it says, "Daddy's lockdown office, do not disturb, genius at work." Now, the wonderful news there is that my son thinks I'm a genius. The rest of the working world doesn't, but that's a different point. But it was that little act of kindness that my family appreciate me working hard to provide for them. And it got me thinking about, and it brings me on to that LinkedIn post that you brilliantly teamed me up for, bosses, managers, owners working from home at the moment. Do you know what? The study we carried out suggested that they're more worried about their teams and their staff at the moment than they are their families, because do you know what? They're seeing their families every day. They're at home with them, they're checking in with them, they know they're good. But their work family, they're really struggling, and they're worried about them and not creating that ability to be able to check in with them. So, having a VOFI, virtual coffee, or picking up the phone, or dropping them an email, or sending them something, nice and sweet through the post, or whatever it is, just reminds people that they are thought about. They're valued, they're loved, and actually, the impact, as you quite rightly pointed out, Rich, that will have on their customers is massive. Because if we know this, if your team feel great, your customers will feel great. But I just want to build on that a little bit further, by putting a bit of a plea out there and posing the question, and it's a rhetorical question. If you're listening to this and you look after people, and many of you will, whether that's family or friends or indeed your team, do you genuinely know how each and every one of them feel? Do you genuinely give them the opportunity to tell you how they're feeling? Because if you don't, that might be an opportunity for your organization. We know that lockdown is going to carry on for, what do we know, mid-Jan? We're going to be in this position certainly for the next couple of months, aren't we? So that's a long time when people are in isolation, and giving them the opportunity to be able to tell you is a key tool to keeping them motivated, because you'll know.
It's one of those things. It doesn't need to be a big event. The conversations you can have off the back of asking are the really key ones, and some people would need them and some people won't. And this is all down to the motivation that we have behind it. And I've spoken previously about motivators. We've had James Sale on this particular podcast talking about motivational maps and how we've got 9 motivators and different things, motivators in different ways. And don't need to make a massive thing about it. Of a score of 0 to 10, how motivated do you feel today? You know, if you're going to do that once a week, what a great way of tracking, keeping an eye on the group as a whole, but also individuals.
Yeah.
Set up system to be able to flag up when people maybe, you know, give themselves a 6 or, you know, below a 6, because that could be seen as quite significant. So then a phone call, you know, quick pick up the telephone, because also what we're generally doing on the remote working point of view is, you know, we're having these lovely Zoom affairs, but they draw energy out of us. I can literally see them. You know, I see it's like something from some sort of horror film when I'm looking at a Zoom screen. My energy is being sucked out of my eyeballs throughout the day. So picking up the telephone, wow, what an old school way of communicating that is. It's really, really good. And I think people appreciate not having to look at a screen all the time, because it does affect them. So yeah, 0 to 10, how are you feeling today? Great question to ask yourselves this fine Friday that it will be going when this is going out. How are you feeling today? How motivated are you feeling? How high is your energy? Is it a 10? Is it an awesome? Is it a 1 or a 2 where you're thinking, blimey, I haven't got anything left, nothing left in the tank? So you've got to be aware of it to be able to do something about it.
Yeah, you're right. And just, you know, this if I was, you know, if I was leading a big team or was responsible for a big team, the other thing, and I know we've touched on this many moons ago, but the onus for the well-being and safety of that team sits with the employer. It doesn't sit with the government. So giving the employee the opportunity to tell you how they feel, so that you can do something about it, is not only an amazing, principally an amazing way of reaching out and checking in and a physical attribute of well-being, but you're also showing due diligence as an employer. And you know, you mustn't forget the importance of due diligence, particularly in, you know, in these uncertain times. Now it would be completely erroneous of me to mention this, but I'm going to. We can help, as many other organizations can help with this, but we can help. And we've got about 70 businesses we're helping at the moment with a COVID and wellbeing simple online software checker that helps businesses do everything we've just talked about. So if you want to know more about that, please get in contact, either at insight6.com or via LinkedIn on messaging and personal messages, and we can certainly reach out and help. And it's very inexpensive. So it's a really simple way of showing that due diligence. And if nothing else, you will sleep better at night knowing you're giving your teams the opportunity to feedback. But building on that, you know, the simple things like a Voffy, you know, reaching out to these clients, reaching out to your colleagues, reaching out to the people in your business network that, you know, are probably having a tough time of it at the moment. You know, there's huge opportunity to do that. So let's all be nice to each other.
Absolutely, I think there's opportunity to do it. I'm fortunate enough to belong to a peer-to-peer group of like-minded business leaders who get together once a month, and it's and we have conversations, and you sit down and you listen to other people talking and you go, oh, thank goodness it's not just me. You know, I'm feeling, you know, low. A couple of guys were feeling not brilliant. I said, okay, well, how can we pep you up? What can we do to help you? I'm feeling good today, so have some of my energy. You know, it's not like you have to keep it to yourself. You can give some away. It's fine. So by being kind, by doing those little things, by making somebody a cuppa, when we're allowed to see them, you know, and picking up the telephone. So yeah, I absolutely am there, and it makes a difference to your customers' end experience, as we said already. You know, this is about customer experience, R&R. It's exactly what we're talking about. It all adds up to provide that great experience from your employees' point of view and your customers' point of view as well.
Well, our top tip this week is don't judge, be nice, look out for each other, because that will help your customers.
I like it. Oh, I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. And no, I haven't got a weak bladder. Right. So what we're going to be doing next week? Well,
yeah, indeed. Tell me.
Organizations helping other people out there in the business world. We're going to be talking to Torti Ferrand from the Guild of Fine Food, which is an organization who works tirelessly to support and assist independent food producers and retailers to really deliver great products, great service out there. So all these independent, lovely independent organizations out there that delicatessens, farm shops, great food producers, drink producers out there. There's some nice cider producers within the Guild of Fine Fooders members. So, you know, yeah, lovely. And they also provide insight through publications and also do the awards as well. The Great Taste Awards, you might have seen them in your local delicatessen, the black stickers on there with the 3 stars or the 2 stars or whatever it is. So Great Taste Awards. So we're going to be talking to Torti about all things to do with the independent side of life at the moment, how they're getting on, how they're being supported, and what the future looks like in terms of customer experience for the independent food sector. So
wow.
That's what we're going to be looking at. So
you didn't even take a breath then. That was amazing.
Well, I have to do that to stop you interrupting me, you see. That's the main thing. And then going off another tangent and leaving me hanging. So thought I'd get in there, stop you doing it. That's me being kind, by the way.
I was going to say, have you not listened to this podcast? Anyway, from my lovely friend over there, have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you next week. I've been Ryan Huxtable.
And I've been Richard Knight. Absolute pleasure.